I apologize, but I need to go back to the beginning so I can scroll through these answers for the purposes of the video. We're just going back over them so that the video has the answers. Okay, now is this where we left off?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, now pause. And what I want you to do is count the number right. There's a total of 24 questions. If you got 2 wrong, you could just subtract and get 22. But count the number right, and then I want you to go to the front page and take that number, multiply by 2. Don't put it at the top of the page. Just put it somewhere near the bottom of the page. Okay? Okay, so count the number right, multiply by 2, put it at the bottom of the page.
Wait, if we got all of them right, that's 42, right?
They're 48, yep, absolutely. So take the number right, multiply by 2, put it at the bottom of the page. Okay, what we're doing is a running total. Now let's go to the part 2s. Now what I did, so that I would really impress upon you how this test is graded and how you go about getting partial credit, is I summarized the notes they gave us on how to grade it. You get 2 points if it's the correct graph, 1 point if there's one computational or graphing error. So if you slid this over and started here, and then went up because it should be down here, but you did horizontal shift instead because this is on the outside of the square root symbol, then that would be 1 error, so then you would get 1 point out of 2. Okay? So give yourself the correct amount of points, 1 or 2 out of 2, whatever you deserve. Okay, next one. Now, on this particular one, it's a little tricky. We talked about this yesterday, and we said 0.8 is the part that remains. But here's the thing. For 0.5, isn't it both? Right, because it's also what gets taken away. So the better answer is the part that remains. But if you wrote rated decay, you're okay on this one, only because it's 0.5. Okay. And then 300 is the initial amount, and they tell us 1 point each. So give yourself plus 0, 1, or 2 there. And here we are plugging in for the x, working it out. X is less than 3, so it works out to be 2. So if your answer is perfect, give yourself 2 points. I think a lot of kids will do something, anything right in here, but they might forget to make it 2, or they might forget to flip the symbol, whatever. They would get 1. It could be the littlest thing right, or everything right except for the stupidest thing wrong. Both get 1. Okay? Ready to move on? Okay. It's horizontal shift. We move 2 to the right. Now, it does say to explain, so you can't just write 4, -1. If you write 4, -1 with no explanation, it's only worth 1 point. Your explanation should say something like, inside the parentheses is horizontal shift, it's reversed, so I move 2 to the right. The big thing is the words 2 to the right, as long as that's in there, okay? If you made a computational or conceptual error, like let's say you went to the left, but you did recognize that it was horizontal shift, you would get 1 point, because that's a conceptual error. If you added wrong, it's 1 point. Yes?
If we showed our work but didn't explain in words, but that's
1 point. Explain always means in words.
That was a 2-point question.
Yes, everything is 2 until I tell you it changes. Okay, here's the graph. Make sure you got that right. And for your explanation, it must refer to the graph in the explanation. So you got to say 3, 2 is not on the graph. 2 points for all of the above. 1 point for an error of any sort or no explanation. referencing the graph. It has to be based on the graph. Okay, next. Could that be represented by this? Yes. All the domain elements have only one and only one output. And in this case, all of the outputs, 2, 4, and 6, are all range elements, so we know it's good. If you did not explain, if you gave an incorrect justification, if you got something else conceptually wrong about it, or then you would get 1. And look what it says here. If there's no justification, 0, even if you're right. So there has to be a justification, okay?
You skipped A1.
And 30.
Oh, on the bottom, 31. Okay, there we go. Completely being the key word. You had to factor both. And if you only did one, you get 1 point. If you did both, you get 2 points. Okay? Now, was the next question 32 here? Yeah, good. Is this also, this is a 2-point question. There it is. You can look it up. Hello? Yeah. Does she have to come down now? Thanks. Bye. Go, but I don't know when it's going to get graded. Okay, so here you go. 2 points if it's the correct plot and the correct values, and 1 point if it's an error of any sort in there anywhere.
So like if we didn't have that values, it would be 1.
If you didn't add the values? Yeah, it'd be 1 if you don't have the values. The values have to be there. Okay? And Spencer, in all honesty, we've mentioned that before, so I would expect you to have known that. All right, so this is numbers 25 through 32. Take every one of them and add up how many points you got. And then put that on the front cover also. Bless you.
You didn't multiply it by 2.
Yes, no, don't multiply by 2, just add them up. And then put it on the front cover. So what were there, 8 questions or something?
Yeah.
So then if you got full credit on it, you would get 16 points. If you lost 1, you would get 15 out of 16 and so on. Okay? All right, so now let's go to the part 3. These are worth 4 each. God bless. Okay, these guys are worth 4 each. So let's go through it. First, it says express it as a trinomial. So I do my double distribute, I combine like terms, and I get m of x equals x squared plus 10x plus 16. Hurry up, turn to the page, and catch up. Now, I'll explain how to grade it in just a couple of minutes, but make sure that you have the m of x equals. If you're missing that, you're going to lose points. And then down here, it says where m of x is 0. So you have to plug in a 0 for m of x, and then you factor and you solve and you get -8 and -2. Now, as far as grading it goes, if you get the correct equation and -8 and -2 showing work, it's full 4 points. If you make one computational, factoring, or simplification error, it's 3 points. If you write an expression instead of an equation, in other words, you'd leave off the m of x equals, it's 3 points. If you make 2 or more errors of this type, computational, factoring, or simplification, that would mean 2 points. So if you made 3 errors, it's still 2 points off. All right? And then if you did just the tiniest little bit right, but most of it was wrong, you get yourself 1 point. And if it's completely idiotic, then it's 0 points. Okay? Questions? All right. Let's go to the next one. The walkway problem. Here's your equation. It's got to say 2x plus 12 times 2x plus 16 is 396. Basically, this is going to be worth 1 point for this guy. Next, the area is the length times the width, and the length and the width are expressed, and they're multiplied to get, they shouldn't say by, are multiplied to get 396, the area. Okay? That's basically worth 1 point, some kind of an explanation like that. And then worth 2 points is solving it all out. And you come up with x equals 3. You must show that they are rejected. Look here. You only get 3 points if you don't reject the negative 17 and the 4. You could also divide out the 4. You didn't have to write it the way I did. You could have divided everything by 4. That's fine. Okay? So there's your grading standards right there. All right? Yes?
I used the quadratic formula, so I.
As long as you got the same answer. All right? As long as you got the same answer, all's good. Okay? Any questions? All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, it's 275 a day, so 175 minus 2.75 n. And you don't have to do this way. You could just do 175 divided by 2.75. I wrote the inequality, 63 being the biggest part of this. You have to come up with the 63. 4 is perfect. 3, 1 error. That's not conceptual. A conceptual error would be something like less than or equal to, as opposed to greater than or equal to. Or 275 minus 1.75 n. That would be conceptual. Okay? 2 errors or a conceptual error, 2 errors or more is 2 points. Okay? Now the cats and dogs question. 2.35c plus 5.50d is 8950. I check. It does not check. So no. So that's basically a point. This is basically a point. And now, to solve it all out, I come up with d is 12 and c is 10. That's the last 2 points. Again, if it's perfect, 4. If it's clueless, 0. I'm shortening it all up here. If it's more right than wrong, 3 out of 4. If it's about half right, 2 out of 4. If it's mostly wrong, 1 out of 4. Okay? Yes?
Okay, so I did this mistake. So on the first part of it, I put equals 80.50, and then in the middle, when I did my explanation, I put 89.50. But then at the end, I solved for 80.50 again.
So that'd be 1 point off.
Okay.
See where, usually how it says at 3, 1 computational error or something like that, that's the point. Anthony, did you have a question, buddy?
If only we could find out how many cats were there at the shelter yesterday, so instead of multiplying negative 2.35 with c plus d equals 22, I did negative 5.
That's fine. Nothing wrong with that at all, buddy.
I would still get a perfect score for doing that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. As long as you came out with that there are 10 cats. Okay? All right, next up. Well, why is this? Where did my other one go? Wasn't there a part 4 here?
Yeah.
Where'd the part 4 go? All right, so is that the last part 3? All right, add up your part 3s, put that number on the front. This should be in here. Oh, I know what. There it is. That's why. Okay, here is the next section. And the graphs. I'm not exactly sure how they would apportion this, but I'm going to go with 4 points for the graph and then 1 point for each of the questions that follow. So look at the graph. Make sure your graph is correct, obviously. All right, any questions? Yeah?
And we didn't do the table, will we still get?
If the graphs are perfect, I don't need to see the table. But if the graphs are imperfect and you don't have a table, you get slammed. So moral to the story is make sure there's a table.
Okay.
All right, no matter what you want to do with that table. Did I do the head bob as well as you did?
Yeah.
I did? Wow, look at that.
That's what I did.
I I do an eye roll. Hold it. There we go, look at that. All right, yeah,
I just sent similar to the graph with AX, but in between the AX, there's an X and a VX, so that I can get the difference between the values.
oh, hey, you guys gotta be quiet, because I'm having a very hard time following Anthony. What'd you say, buddy?
Like after AX, I would put a column to put in the coordinates for VX.
Okay. Oh, so did you use a table instead of slope y-intercept?
Yeah, I use a table and I put it onto.
Now, did they look correct?
Yes.
You're all good. All right. Now, this guy here. 3. Now, I looked it up on the Regents. I thought they would accept 300, and maybe they would, but they specifically said 3 in the answer space, so we go with 3. And then site A. And it says justify, so you have to write down that the cost at site A or less. All right? Now, that is worth a total of 6 points. So give yourself the correct amount accordingly, 1 point for each of these two, plus whatever you have in the beginning. Now, put that on your front cover and add up all of those numbers on your front cover.
But those are 6 points, right?
Yes. Add up those total points. Okay. Now, the raw score is whatever you got on the left, okay? And your test score is whatever you got on the right. Okay? So, in other words, if you only got 40 points, you still get a 76. Yes. Which is why I have said to you from the beginning of the year, the only way to fail this test is don't do your work. All right? You literally only need to get 27 points on the test put together, which is 14 part ones. It's actually 13 and a half part ones. And you get a 65 on the test. Because the curve is massive down low. Up high, it's a little bit okay, but not what it is here. So find your raw score, look across to the scale score. The scale score is what would go on your report card. Okay? So put that grade on top of your paper and pass it up.
Wait, the 86 or the 100?
The scaled score. Now, Catherine, you go with one person sitting around you and use their paper to catch up on what you're grading. All right, well, go with what they said because we're going to move on now. And then when the papers get to the front row, if someone in each front row can bring them up to me, please.
I don't have the table test.
What did you do, leave it home or something?
Was it handed out on Thursday?
This one? I don't remember what day last week. Could have been Wednesday, Thursday. There's more in the drawer. Go get them. Okay. All right, can you guys bring them over if you're front row, right? First row, come on. Right, you're supposed to be bringing them over here.
What do you want? Mr. Liquid for Euro.
What?
I don't know what I'm doing. Am I passing it up?
Did you grade every question?
Yes.
Did you put the numbers on the front?
Yes.
Did you add the numbers up?
Yes.
What did it add up to?
25. Yeah.
It added up to a lot more than 25, unless you didn't do it.
I know, I probably did it wrong.
No, Kristen, you didn't multiply part one.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, so this is 40. You only got 1 out of 8? Did you put the
No, I
points?
got. Wait, hold on. I got.
Did you put for each
I think
question
so.
pluses and minuses?
Yeah.
Emma, help her, please.
Thank you.
Now,
Wait, the last one.
Wait, what did she do?
okay, Kristen's having a blonde moment. Now, thank God she has a blonde to help being a blonde. All right, I kind of need to leave this up here for just a minute. So you know what? I'll make a tab. That works. What was the Regents that's due today? What year?
2012.
Was June, August? What is it?
Oh, just.
That one was June.
No, the one that's right now. That
The one that's right in front of us?
no, the one I gave you yesterday that you should be halfway through.
January 26, 2017.
February.
They'll figure it out. January 2017.
Wait, you can just find this information online?
Yeah, I told you that.
So then we can just cheat?
I told you. There's no way you shouldn't get 100. But I said if you just do it and cheat off it, you're insane. You're being a fool. All right, here's the answers to the part 1 that's due today.
Did I accidentally hand that into your?
Look in that stack.
Okay, I don't know.
Wait, what?
6 times the raw 4.
Oh, I need to just look this up here. Hang on.
Yeah, I didn't know what the actual.
Right,
No, you don't have to. It's okay.
86.
86, okay.
Christina.
Catherine, do you need answers to questions? You think you have it? Okay. Okay. Now, how many would you have gotten on this?
Oh, wow, I did terrible.
hopefully you didn't just like look up answers, hopefully you did it honestly. How many would you have gotten?
Like how many right?
Yes,
I got like
24.
if you only got 12 right, you didn't even try.
19.
Okay, can you please count up how many you would have had right? I want to ask a question anymore. Okay. Now,
After we know how many got right, we multiply it by 2, right?
well, I just want to know how many you got right, because we're not going to actually do a score yet. How many, anybody get 24 out of 24? Okay, we got 2. Hey, Drake, anybody get 23 out of 24? Okay, 22? 20? 1, sorry. 22, 20? Okay, anybody between 15 and 19? Okay? Is there anyone, well, let's put things this way. If you got at least 14 questions right, you have already passed the Regents. Okay?
Wait, what?
If you got 14 or more right, you have already passed the Regents. We haven't even added in the points for parts 2, 3, and 4 yet.
So if you just didn't do those?
You would still pass. Now, obviously, we're not gonna do that,
Says who?
okay? Now, for the remainder of the period, what you can do is work together on parts 2, 3, 4, or ask each other about anything for part 1 that you didn't get right. Work it on through, and then tomorrow we will go over the entire test. And don't forget, those things are due Friday. And one last optional, listen, hey, excuse me. Girls, there will be one last completely optional take-home test that I will give you on Friday. And if you are frustrated or disappointed by one of your grades this marking period, test grades, that you want replaced, you can do that test, hand it in, and I'll grade it. If you're happy with your grades, then you don't need to do it.
46.
All right? Totally up to you. Yes? It'll be due Monday. I'll give it to you Friday, due Monday, last day of class. So you'll have the weekend to work on it, in addition to the regular homework. It's not the only homework, all right? Yeah, totally optional. If you're happy with where you're at, don't do it.
So can I tell Marcus part 2 for this?
Whenever I play it's like defense is so
Bless you.
Why does she keep giving you money?
Oh, it's the same thing.
I'm confused on part 13. I asked Avery about it. On how it's
Oh, because the number of pages causes the ink to be used. That's not casual, that's causal. So the number of pages causes the ink to be used, and it's a positive correlation. Positive means as you print more pages, you use more ink. Some things are actually negative.
Oh, use. Okay, I thought I meant like you were like run out of ink.
No, see, that would be negative. If the relationship was how much ink is left, that would have been negative.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
So it's part 2 of like this type of homework?
Yeah, part 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the whole rest of the test. That's why I said yesterday, it's longer today, so maybe you wanted to get a little ahead yesterday.
Always confused. Okay. I'm sure you have people come up to you about it, but like, says the empty set.
Yeah, the empty set means there's no solution, that's right.
But wouldn't both of them be a solution? Because they're the same exact equation.
Exactly. They're actually, let's double it. 2y equals 6x minus 4. And this one is, the answer is not the empty set. The answer is going to be all real numbers. Because the set is
Well, it's because all the pages.
Like there's no solution, like have there's no, I
I just can't wait for a final semester and to actually have a long period of time where I can do nothing but worry about this. I'm just spending the whole thing.
And what about Sundays? Domingo.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, it's just, I think a lot of stuff. I have no idea what I do is I memorize one word from the state and know it.
I went back and it was like 8%. It was like the one that Jason and then like the wheelchair child.
And the words.
I'm sorry about like
Whenever anyone says that word, it sounds so funny. Picturing a guy with a hand, even I was like, ah.
was like,
Still waiting for him to delete that picture. What picture?
Should have to,
Mariam Alexis guidance, Mariam Alexis guidance.
yeah.
Is the whole take-home test between